Today is August 22nd, and yesterday I gave a longer clip simply to try to get through some material about why I believe, why it is true and it's indisputable that my migraines were not migraines in a natural sense, but were triggered by military means and have been used specifically during times when I have tried to do something with the court system, with work, and with college. So at a later date, after I realized that they had been used and triggered to prevent me from being successful in court, because they quit for a while, and I had been very successful. My lawsuits were still going after 2 years, which was unexpected, I'm sure, since I was a first-time pro se litigant. And I don't think that they expected those lawsuits to go that long. And so in order to save themselves and their clients' money, it was easier to torture me. And that's what they did. So right about the point where a difference could have been made and it looked like I was going to win, I had substantial evidence to back me up. We were getting close to the discovery phase where I would have then been able to take interrogatories of them, which I'm sure they didn't want. And that was about the point. I mean, it took 2 years to get up to that, just to get to the point where it was time to ask for discovery. So this was a very lengthy process. And they chose to torture me out of court. And I believe that when I made a report about 2 FBI agents, that gave them the feeling that they could go ahead and do whatever they wanted, because now they had the FBI on their side, because now the FBI was adversarial towards me. And when I have, in reviewing just a small sample of what the FBI has about me, they finally, after 7 years of my requesting FOIA records, they gave me a few pages of the interviewer, I guess the report that was made by the special or the senior supervisory agents, the SSAs, that came out to interview me about my complaint. And those reports were written up. First of all, in the interview, they tried to have me alter my testimony, and they were trying to guide me. They acted more like lawyers than they did FBI. They didn't act like they wanted an objective account. They sort of wanted to shape my account. And I'm sure that some of you who have dealt with the FBI before can relate to me. And at least, even if there are people that can't relate to most of the things that I've been through, government corruption is not a new thing, and it's not unique to me, because there are plenty of people who are in prison on shoddy public defense and corruption with the FBI or police that are bent on proving their point. And sometimes I think it's that they feel this is the direction they want it to go, and so it's a political move. Other times I think that there are dirty FBI and officers and acquaintances involved, and there are a lot of different kinds of business deals that happen. And even though this is America and we claim that we're better because corruption is not out in the open. For example, you're not going to see, like maybe in some countries, it is typical to take a bribe. You know, hey, I'll, do this for me and I'll give you this, and someone might exchange money right out in the open. It's not as concealed. But here in the United States, it's become very insidious because a lot of corruption occurs just as much as any other country, and maybe sometimes more. And yet, because there are laws that state that it's illegal, which really, I'm beginning to realize they mean nothing. The system is basically, we have no one to enforce the laws because half the people who are supposedly enforcing the laws or who are taking cases are corrupt themselves. So that makes everything useless. But because there are laws against public corruption, it's just the incentive, it's just then, I can't find the right word, but it's not incentive. And it's not imperative, but I'll use imperative. It's the imperative of those who want things to go their way, whether it's right or not, to just find sneakier ways of doing it. And probably if we started to rank the United States in human rights record and public corruption record, and we change how we report things, how we report countries as to public corruption, as to visible corruption and sneaky corruption, I think the United States will rank probably close to the very top for sneaky corruption. And so some of the sneaky things that this country has employed in its arsenal against its own citizens is use of military technology to torture their own citizens and get what they want. And it's sneaky because there are many ways of employing less than lethal technologies against someone that cause extreme and severe pain, and yet which leave few signs of evidence or actual marks. So it makes it hard for someone to describe or to prove what is actually happening. Therefore, I looked it up once, and the terminology for this is, I've mentioned it already, but it's called quote-unquote white torture or clean torture. And it's called white torture, I'm not sure actually why it's called white torture, but I know why it's called clean torture. And that is because it's a clean method of torturing someone. It leaves few traces, it looks very clean. It's not a dirty torture. It's not a messy torture, it's not a bloody torture, although someone might bleed. It's a clean torture. So this country wants to look very clean when they're actually employing mainly dirty public officials and people connected to them. So, going back to the FBI, after explaining what's possible with government these days, they wrote me up as sounding crazy, and that was their own doing. They wanted to protect their own agents. They didn't want liability. They knew that I had filed lawsuits in the past, and I had been like 2 years at least successful before they were shut down after I was tortured. And I just think that obviously then the FBI was adversarial towards me. They were the quote-unquote enemy, even though it shouldn't have been viewed that way. It should have been viewed as this is about two individuals from our offices and a citizen. But that's not how it was treated. It was treated more like, if I made a report against one of their guys, I made a report against the entire FBI, and then therefore the entire FBI was liable. And what I didn't realize was that the FBI was probably already liable, because they've concealed a lot of the things that have been done to me. For example, Louis Freeh was the FBI director at the time that I had implants put into my body, microchips, in 1995. And then the Department of Justice knew that I was being tortured during my court hearings. So it's kind of hard to keep up a good appearance when you're that bad.